I was flown back to France to blow up a gigantic fuel depot, which the Germans had built in a bunker on the Maginot Line. The Reich was running out of oil. They guarded every barrel like the crown jewels. The main entrance was secured like the Führer's bunker. Fortunately, every rat's nest has a second entrance. I had to try and find it. I jumped over a wooded area that bordered on the rear of the complex. Unfortunately, my equipment was stuck at the top of a blasted tree during the landing. To make matters worse, I saw that the area was guarded by Waffen SS troops. Those units had one basic rule: take no prisoners. Exactly like me. The first step was done. I was finally in the bunker. The fuel depot was certain to be in the lowest level to protect it from bombing raids. The mishap with my lost equipment would not stop me, but without explosive charges, the situation was hopeless. But the Germans were sure to have explosives stored somewhere in the bunker. Soon they would see what they were good for. A German fuel depot and an explosive charge sounded like a very promising combination. The problem was I had to be back outside before this rendezvous developed chemistry. In France, there was a man whom I'd always wanted to meet. Colonel Willy Schunzel, better known as the Butcher of Paris. It was no wonder that he was at the top of the list. It is just that so far no one had succeeded in coming close to him. We had learned that Schunzel wanted to see the looted art in the cathedral. As ever, he followed the siren call of gold. It was reported that every entrance to the interior of the cathedral was blocked, except for one door which led down into the crypt. However, the entire area was heavily guarded. I had to keep my eyes open, but an opportunity always arises. It appeared as though I had found a way into the cathedral. I didn't know where the dark, musty vaults of the crypt would lead. The SS certainly were not here to hold a service. Whatever they were plundering, they were doing me a favor. They had finally delivered the butcher to me. I had to be careful. Schunzel and his infamous bodyguards could have been anywhere in the building. If there was an alarm, I would be certain to run into difficulties, and Schunzel, that psychopath, would take refuge behind his men. Well-paid sources reported that a submarine had recently tied up at Dock 11 in the Hamburg harbour. But that was not all. Top-secret documents were also said to be at the dock, showing the routes of various German submarines in the North Atlantic. It would be a nightmare for the Nazis if the papers fell into enemy hands. I was infiltrated into the German Reich for exactly this purpose. No agent had ever returned from there alive. Only once I had the papers in hand would I be able to move on to the second part of the operation. The destruction of the submarine, for which air support had been promised. But first I had to find a way onto the docks. The second part of the plan could begin. The pilots were eager to deliver their presents, as they called them. There was just one problem. The target could not be seen in the dark. Flares would betray the surprise attack. We've got to get the subs before they dive. Therefore, I had to mark the target from the ground. The tanker standing near the quay would provide more than enough light. An explosive charge would be enough to turn night into day. There had to be explosives somewhere in this naval harbor. I only had to find them. Three of our top agents had been uncovered in Warsaw. Although the men had succeeded in hiding in the sewers, the damage was very serious. My mission was to prevent secret information from falling into the Germans' hands at any cost. I was smuggled in, unarmed and disguised. I had to find the men before the Gestapo did. If there was no way out, I had to silence them. Those were my orders. It was suspected that their hiding place was in a section of the sewers near the Ghetto. It would not be easy to get there. The Nazis were in the process of cleaning out the entire ghetto. Only the third man was left. There was nothing I could do. Nothing aside from breaking into the Szabo prison and serving him with cyanide. Who would want anything else in such a situation? There's nothing to lose when everything is already lost. The city was swarming with soldiers. Immediately after I left the sewers, I saw the face of death, a mixture of madness and despair. The room where I landed was the cellar of the main building. In the distance, I heard screams. I felt as though I were permanently intoxicated. Everything before me became sharp and clear. I was sleepwalking and wide awake at the same time. I could only think of one thing: cyanide. Another man in France was authorized for assassination, Colonel Alfred Kamm. He was considered the most important mind in the German military intelligence. Kamm pursued the resistance mercilessly. He'd almost wiped them out. I had to eliminate him no matter how. Kamm and I had one thing in common. We always carried out a mission to the end. But this time, only one of us would succeed. It was not difficult to find Kamm's unit. One only needed to follow his bloody trail. The manhunter and his pack spent almost every night in an unsavory inn called Le Boeuf. Twice the caution is called for in the nest of collaborators, but there is nothing that cannot be achieved if one is skilled enough. I spent many nights lying in wait until dawn, staring at the walls for an eternity. They stared back and crept closer. I no longer feel any pain, only warm, flowing blood. It all seems like a dream. Is the war over? Where am I? And where's my equipment? I'm almost naked. I need to get out of here as quickly as possible. But not without a weapon. I was betrayed, sold. But what does it matter? Death dances on the ruins of my life and stills the hunger. The Germans are honouring me with the most brutal special unit they have, the Derlewenger Brigade. They will annihilate the entire village, burn everything, including the villagers, just to avenge Cam. I must save whatever I can. There isn't much time.